Hi, my name is Mia. Welcome to Scrubs and Savings. I'm a 21-year-old new grad registered nurse documenting how I'm living intentionally, spending joyfully, and giving generously. And I am so excited for today's video because we are doing my mid-year money reset where we will be checking in on the past 6 months worth of income, expenses, savings, investments, debt payoff, as well as my progress towards my financial goals and my net worth. And I'm also going to reflect on how I'm feeling about money so far this year and also make any necessary changes to my budget. Now, for a little bit of context about me, if you are new here, like I said before, I recently graduated from nursing school and passed my board exams, and I've only been working as a nurse for the past couple of weeks at my clinical research job. So I haven't been paid as a nurse yet. That will be my next paycheck. So all of the money that I've made from my jobs was while I was working part-time. I think it's also important to note that I do live with my parents and they cover all of the bills and necessities. So all of my expenses are discretionary. So as for my income, I made $3,801.05 as a clinical research assistant, $3,142.35 as a nurse intern. While I was still in school, I worked as a skills lab assistant and I made $1,268.48. My parents were also so generous and they provided me a weekly allowance while I was still in school, and I received $1,190 in allowance. Now, since I graduated, I have very kind and generous friends and family, so I did receive a lot of cash graduation gifts, the biggest one being $5,000 from my parents. I really wasn't expecting this money, but I really, truly can't explain how grateful I am. I also received graduation gifts from family, friends, and my family, and that was $1,145. Then throughout a little bit of the school year, I experimented with earning bank bonuses, and I received $601 from doing that, and I have taken a break from pursuing those and just have been focusing on my career. Then I received a state tax refund of $411. Then from my Ally High Yield Savings account, I received $77.17 in interest just from having my cash sit in that account. And I also have an Apple Card where I get cash back, and I made $14.28 from that. Then I sold a couple of clothes to Plato's Closet and I received $14. And if you can't tell that I am diligent in tracking my money, I also track whenever I find extra change around the house or in my car even, and I count it as income, and I found $10.45 in extra change. Whenever my partner's family hosts a game night, there tends to be some games that involve cash prizes, and I did win $2 from playing board games. And the last income source that I had was from Google to set up my direct deposit once I get monetized, and they deposited 15 cents in one of my checking accounts and they didn't take the money back, so that is still income. So my total income this year so far was $16,676.93, which is honestly significantly more than I thought I would make in the first half of the year because I was only working once or twice a week while I was still in school and studying for the board exams. And before I move on to going through how much I spent so far this year, I want to point out that I'm very aware of how privileged I am to receive such large sums of money from my friends and family, and I really couldn't be more grateful to have the support that I have, not only monetarily, but also relationship-wise. I really, truly would not be in such a wonderful position so early on in my life without my loved ones. And I really try to do right by them by managing my money wisely. So moving on to my expenses, I use the budgeting software You Need a Budget for all of my budgeting needs. I highly recommend it. it's not only changed the way that I manage my money, but also really has allowed me to have a more abundant mindset with my money. And it's helped me give myself the permission to spend more money on the things that I love. So far this year, I have spent $12,139.18. 66%, or $8,000.88 went to my car loan. My parents and I took out a car loan on a 2021 Toyota RAV4. I previously thought that it was at a 6.29% interest rate, so I wasn't paying it down quickly, but I found out around January when I was checking my credit score that it was actually at a 6.69% interest rate, and I really felt uncomfortable with how high that interest rate was. So I took a huge chunk of my savings and put it towards the car loan and have been paying an extra $860 per month to get it knocked out as soon as possible. And I do have a huge announcement of where that car loan is at right now, but we're going to keep trucking along on my expenses. Then my next highest spend category group was for generosity, which was $1,583.57, $943.26 of that being for giving, $360.98 for gifts, and then I have already spent $258.33 on Christmas. Some of that was to help pay for my family's Christmas party, reimbursing my boyfriend's parents for a dinner that they went on their cruise, and I also had to reorder one of my boyfriend's gifts, so that's why my Christmas spending is already so high and it's still only July. Then lastly, I spent $21 on little small acts of kindness. Then I spent $861.52 on travel, all of that being for my boyfriend and I's graduation trip to Tennessee, which was well worth the money. Then for my fun discretionary spending, I spent $597.42, $210.61 of that being on date night, $145.41 on beauty, $136.83 on dining out, $47.58 on things, $30 on yoga, $10 for activities, only $8 for coffee, $5 for recreational substances, and $3.99 on entertainment. And then I used to have a hobbies category in my discretionary fun spending group, but I realized that all of my hobby spending was on my YouTube channel, so I decided it really made sense to make it its own category group. So my next high spend category was on my YouTube channel, which was this microphone that you see right here, my editing software, and one trial with an editor. My second to last spending category was my services, fees, and memberships category. So $125 of that was to file my taxes with TurboTax, $117 was to pay my federal taxes, $109 was for my YNAB subscription, $89.94 for my gym membership, and lastly, I spent $11.12 from my sinking funds, which was specifically all lifelong learning. So I am honestly super happy with my spending. I'm so glad that I put so much money towards my car loan, and the very good news regarding that loan is that it is completely paid off. So I am car loan debt free and effectively debt free overall, because when I use credit cards, I do pay my statement balances in full and I never gain interest on my credit cards. And I feel so much better because now all of the money that I was putting towards my car loan can now go to spending money on things that I really want to spend money on and saving for my future goals, which is so much better than paying off debt. As for my generosity spending, I am increasing how much I'm giving on a monthly basis once my income increases. It is a really important value of mine to give to other people that aren't in such a fortunate position that I am. And I really want to give at least 10% of my net income to those in need. I also would like to start splurging a little bit more on gifts, and honestly, whenever there's people like fundraising and anything like that, I would like to have a little bit of money set aside for those little things as well. I also hope to increase my travel spending. It is such a huge value of mine, and that involves spending more money to see more places. I also did get the Amex Gold as a little early birthday present to myself because I am going to be able to receive a 100,000 point sign up bonus, which will really help with one of my dreams to go to France next year. As for my discretionary fun money category, I also plan on spending more. It's funny because a lot of common personal finance advice is to avoid lifestyle creep, which basically is like increasing your lifestyle expenses while your income increases. Of course, I think it's important to save your money for the future and making sure that you're financially secure. I don't really want to become a miserable person right now just so that I can retire early, and a lot of the things that I enjoy do involve spending money. Like, I love eating out. I love going out for date night with my partner. I love going to live events like concerts, sporting events, and I want to go to watch more musicals, and that does involve money, and I don't want to let myself feel bad about spending money on things that I love, especially because I'm not sacrificing any financial goals in the process. I would consider cutting back on lifestyle, of course, if I really needed to, but in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy the money that I work so hard for. As for YouTube spending, I'm probably not going to spend that much more money on YouTube this year unless a miracle happens and I get to buy myself a camera, but I don't foresee that anytime soon. Unless I get monetized, then I probably could buy myself a camera, but I don't know about that. Then as for subscriptions and fees, they're probably going to stay the same for the rest of the year. And later on this video, I'm going to show you guys how I've changed my budget to accommodate all of the spending increases that I am going to do. Then as for my savings, investments, and debt payoff, I'm going to show you guys how much I have put towards all of those with my 50-30-20 split spreadsheet. I keep track of how much I put towards my wants, savings, investments, and debts every single month, and I do have a little section where I can see how much I have put towards each of those categories throughout the year. So I have saved $8,797.64 this year, the majority of that going towards my emergency fund, and I do spend my savings, especially from travel, so not all of it just stays put in my bank account. As for investments, I have invested $7,229.05, the majority of that being the $6,000 rollover from my 529 plan. Even though that didn't come from my savings, it came from a different account, I do consider it me investing because I chose to invest it into my retirement account instead of just letting it sit there in the 529 plan. And then in between January and June, again, I put $8,000.88 towards debt. So as you can see here, the split between my needs, wants, savings, investments, and debt, 14.6% went towards wants, 31.3% went towards savings, $7,229.05 went towards investments, and $8,000.88 went towards debt. I had several financial goals for this year. So my first goal was to make $40,000 in gross income, and so far this year I have made $17,416.63. So this is all of the money that I have made before taxes came out. So that's why it's a little different than the income that I stated before. So I'm at 43.5% of the way to my goal. I was definitely not expecting to have made this much progress at this time because I was only working part-time, but with all the cash gifts, it really helped me have more income, obviously. And now that I will finally be working full-time as a nurse, my hourly rate has increased. The amount of hours that I will be working has increased, and I really do think I might exceed my $40,000 gross income goal, which is super exciting. My next goal was to max out my Roth IRA, which required me to invest $7,000. So from January to April, I invested $1,000 just from my income during those months, and then in May I just decided to do the rollover from my 529, which was $6,000. So I reached that goal. Then my next goal was to have $3,000 in my apartment fund, and I am only at 16.2% of the way to that goal. And as you can see here, I did remove a lot of money from my savings to put towards my car loan, but we are definitely going to build my apartment fund back up and hopefully exceed my $3,000 goal, and I'm honestly not worried about achieving that goal. Then my next goal was to have $7,500 in my income replacement fund, or my version of an emergency fund, and I did achieve this goal, and I currently have $8,025 in that fund. And the only reason why I have been able to achieve this goal halfway through the year is because of all of the extra income that I made outside of my jobs. So I'm very happy with where that income replacement fund is sitting at, and I am definitely on track to reach my goal of having $12,000 in that fund once I move out. My second to last goal was to reach a $100,000 net worth by the end of this year, which is such a stretch goal for me, but we are actually 55.3% of the way there because I had to increase it by about $38,500, and this would not have been possible again without all of the cash gifts and the increase in the stock market as of late. And it's kind of crazy to say this, but I really do think I will be able to achieve this goal with my increased income. I honestly can't believe that. But moving on, my last goal was to become debt-free, and I didn't achieve this by the end of June, but as of July 2nd, I am debt-free, which again is so incredible. So I have made an insane amount of progress towards my financial goals. I definitely wasn't expecting to be in this position halfway into the year, but I am so excited for what's to come once I start making more money. And lastly, for my net worth halfway into 2025, I did make this little net worth dashboard for myself. So my total assets at the end of June was $84,919.84. My total debts were at $2,141.10. So my net worth at the end of June was $82,778.74, which is absolutely incredible. So overall, I'm feeling really great about my money right now. my income so far this year has been amazing and not expected. And I also felt really good about how I managed my spending. I felt like I was really spending on the things that I love and cutting out things that I really don't care for, especially my car loan. And then I think I have saved an amazing amount of money, invested a good amount of money, even though I do feel a little guilty about calling the 529 rollover my investments, even though it was my choice to invest that money. But again, I do plan on increasing my employer retirement contribution, so I think psychologically that will make me feel more proactive in saving for retirement. And then, of course, I'm feeling absolutely fabulous about being debt-free. And before I sign off, I do want to go through the changes that I have made to my budget now that I will be making more income. So on a monthly basis, I did cut out my iCloud subscription again, which I'm really happy about. Then I will be increasing my donations. And then for my true expenses, which are kind of the irregular expenses that you know will be coming and I wouldn't consider emergencies, I will actually start paying my car insurance once my family's new policy is set in August. I really do want to start contributing to the household more monetarily by paying my car insurance, but also picking up on some household chores. I also want to start saving $100 for car maintenance, which is very timely because I will have a regular checkup very soon, and I also really need to replace the tires on my car because they definitely are wearing out. I also set aside money each month for my driver's license and car renewal, my annual YNAB subscription, gym maintenance, nursing license, which none of those have changed. Then I set aside enough money to pay for my Amex Gold annual fee, which I think will totally be worth it, not only because of the 100,000 point sign up bonus, but also because a lot of my money is spent on the high point multiplier categories, mainly the dining out category. But of course, once I move out, a good chunk of my money will be going to supermarket spending, which is also a 4-point multiplier. Then I save $50 a month for Christmas and $1.69 for my passport renewal, which also hasn't changed. Then for fun, we are definitely increasing. I think I'm increasing it overall by like $400, but considering that I think tripling my gross income, I think a $300 or so increase in my fun expenses isn't unreasonable. And again, spending on these things really does increase the quality of my life, and I don't want to apologize for spending money on things that make me happy. So my dining out category used to be $20 per month, but now I want to increase that to $50 a month because I would like to dine out more. It is one of the main ways that I spend time with my friends, and I also like trying new restaurants, and I think $50 a month would be about 2 meals out per month because I don't really spend money on convenience food, and I honestly would like to keep it that way. Then I don't have a target for coffee. Like you saw earlier, I don't really spend much money on getting coffee out. Then I recently added a hostess with the mostest category because I do want to start hosting my friends. I think it's really important to build a community, and I would like to have my friends over more often. So as of right now, I think $25 should be enough to grab us some food and spend high quality time with my friends without forcing them, I guess, to spend money. My activities little category which I haven't changed because I haven't been going to like any activities that I normally go to, like roller skating or bowling or anything like that recently, but those are things that I do enjoy doing, so I think it's important to set aside money for those. Then my yoga class target is staying the same because yoga is really important for my mental and physical health, and I think it'll be about $80 a month to go to a yoga class every week. The amount I plan on spending on beauty isn't changing. Then I do want to set aside $5 every month for little entertainment things here and there. Then what I think is the biggest change is that I want to set aside $100 per month on live entertainment, again, sporting events, concerts, and musical theater. I've recently realized that going to these things are really important to me, and I want my spending to reflect that. Then for clothing, I really do need to start setting aside money for that every month. And honestly, you guys, I kind of am feeling the urge to shop. I don't know if it's because I am going to start making more money, but I also feel like my clothes are a little too casual to wear to church and social events now. Like, I don't know if I want to be wearing a t-shirt and jeans to church or to brunch or to anything like that. Maybe it might be a good idea to get like a nice dress and a nice blouse. I don't think I want to totally overhaul my wardrobe because I am going to be wearing scrubs 3 to 4 times a week, but I do want to dress appropriately for different occasions. Then for date night, I do want to have $50 set aside each month for date night because of course I want to spend more money on quality time with my partner. I am going to start setting aside $20 per month for knickknacks or just things that I want to buy. I've noticed a pattern in my thought processes about buying cute little things for myself. Like, I did finally purchase that little badge buddy that I have been talking about before, and I don't know if I want to be one of those people that feels guilty about buying something cute for myself to enjoy every day. And I think having money set aside for when I do want to spend money on these things will allow me to feel less guilty about spending money on them. Then for YouTube spending, I want to set aside $50 each month. I don't know why I feel a little guilty about that. YouTube is one of my hobbies, and it is something that I want to spend time and money on to increase not only the quality of my content, but increase the joy of making videos. Then for my financial goals, again, I want to set aside money every month for my apartment fund because my partner and I plan on having a combined $10,000 ready to go once we move out, because my partner also lives at home, so this will be our first time living on our own. So we basically have to buy every single thing that one needs to live, and that will be expensive. So it may be a little excessive to have that much money set aside, but honestly, it is worth setting aside that money for the peace of mind. Then I am going to set aside $397.50 per month to have $12,000 by April of 2026. Then I do want to start saving up for a potential wedding. It does feel really weird to say this on camera, but I do want to get married to my partner, and weddings are a pretty expensive affair, so I feel like saving money for it right now will help me feel less guilty about spending a large amount of money. Then I will continue setting aside money for travel. I think $200 each month will be enough for the vacations that I'm currently planning, and I have no problem increasing this once I want to start spending more money on travel. And the last change that I made is that I want to start investing money into my down payment fund brokerage again, because housing prices are only increasing. So saving money while I still have the margin now and letting it grow in the market will help myself and my partner out in the long run, so that we're not stressed to save thousands of dollars each month once we are both ready to purchase a home. I think that is about it for this mid-year money reset. I'm super happy with how I've managed my money for the past 6 months, and I'm so excited to see how I manage my money for the rest of the year, especially, of course, with my income increasing. So thank you for watching this video all the way through. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. I am so excited for the next couple of videos because I will be doing my mid-year life reset, which will be more of a personal reset. Then I will also be filming how much I make as a registered nurse, so going through my very first nursing paycheck. I just think it would be so cute to look back on that video in the future and celebrate how hard I've worked to get to this point. And then I will have a budget with me for that paycheck as per usual. And I really do want to do a post-grad series, which I still haven't gotten around to writing the rest of that script, but I am starting to implement some of the things that I do want to improve on in my life. And I really do want to document and share that journey with you all. Again, thank you for watching, and I really hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.